The earth opens into silence, and the silence has a color. Pale, sun-bleached, endless. A land so dry that even time seems to have evaporated, leaving behind a surface cracked and sculpted into shapes that do not belong to our planet. The wind moves cautiously here, as if afraid to disturb a place that feels older than memory itself. This is a desert where rain is almost a myth, where clouds pass overhead without ever fulfilling their promise, and where life survives not by abundance but by stubborn resilience. The ground crunches underfoot like salt and bone, and in many places that is exactly what it is. Ancient seabeds lifted high by tectonic violence millions of years ago, when the ocean withdrew and the mountains rose. The Andes thrust skyward, trapping moisture on the far side and leaving this side starved of rain. Ocean currents flowing cold along the coast cool the air so thoroughly that clouds rarely form, sealing the desert's fate. Year after year, century after century, storms simply do not come. Some weather stations here have never recorded rainfall. Entire generations pass without seeing a drop fall from the sky. And yet, beneath this harshness lies an alien beauty, a landscape that feels less like Earth and more like the memory of another world. Salt flats stretch to the horizon, white and blinding, their surfaces broken into endless, geometric patterns sculpted by evaporation. Beneath them lie hidden lakes of ancient brine, remnants of water trapped underground, slowly rising and vanishing again beneath the merciless sun. Minerals left behind paint the land in impossible colors: turquoise pools, rust-red rocks, streaks of green and yellow, each hue a chemical signature of the planet's deep interior brought to light. Volcanoes stand watch in the distance, perfect cones carved against a cobalt sky. Some are dormant, others still whisper with fumaroles and warm springs, reminders that beneath this lifeless surface, Earth remains restless and alive. Steam rises from geothermal fields where boiling mud, bubbles and geysers exhale into freezing dawn air, a clash of fire and ice playing out in silence. Temperatures swing wildly. Under the midday sun, the desert scorches, ultraviolet light burning unfiltered through thin, dry air. But when night arrives, heat escapes instantly into the open sky, and frost creeps across the same ground that blistered only hours before. Survival here means enduring extremes within the span of a single day. And yet life persists. Tiny microbes cling to rocks, drawing moisture from fog and salt crystals. Lichens and hardy plants bloom in rare pockets where underground water surfaces. And in shallow, hypersaline lagoons, life erupts unexpectedly in flashes of color. Flamingos arrive like living brushstrokes against the pale earth. Pink bodies reflected in mirror-still waters rich with microscopic algae and brine shrimp. 3 species gather here, feeding in waters so salty that few other creatures can survive. Their delicate forms seem out of place in this harsh world, yet they thrive, proof that life adapts in the most improbable corners of existence. Foxes move silently across barren plains, hunting rodents and insects that emerge under cover of darkness. Biscachas, rabbit-like creatures with long tails, leap across volcanic stones, perfectly adapted to sparse vegetation. Even insects endure here, hiding beneath rocks, waiting patiently for conditions that may improve only once in decades, and sometimes, against all odds, the desert transforms. On rare occasions, when unusual rains do arrive, dormant seeds awaken. For a brief, miraculous moment, the desert blooms. Fields of flowers burst across normally barren plains, purples and yellows and whites, painting landscapes that only weeks earlier seemed incapable of supporting life. Then, as quickly as they appear, the blooms vanish and the desert returns to silence, waiting again. But perhaps the greatest transformation happens after sunset. As darkness falls, the sky reveals another universe, with almost no humidity, no light pollution, and air so clear it feels invisible. The stars emerge with astonishing clarity. The Milky Way spills overhead like a river of light, so bright it casts faint shadows on the ground. Nebulas glow in colors invisible to the naked eye but captured by telescopes stationed here, instruments searching deep into cosmic history. Astronomers build observatories in this desert because nowhere else on Earth offers such a perfect window into space. High elevation, cloudless nights, and dry atmosphere combine to create conditions rivaled by few places on the planet. From here, humanity searches for distant galaxies, newborn stars, and potentially habitable worlds orbiting suns far away. And in a strange twist, this desert also helps us prepare for journeys beyond Earth. Its extreme dryness mirrors conditions on Mars so closely that scientists test life detection equipment here, searching for organisms hidden within salt deposits in underground pockets of moisture. Rovers and instruments designed for other planets prove themselves first in this terrestrial alien world. Standing here, one can almost believe that this is how Mars might feel underfoot. Silent, vast, indifferent. The paradox is striking. A place so hostile to life becomes essential to understanding life elsewhere. A land empty of rain becomes full of scientific discovery. Desolation becomes opportunity. Human presence here remains sparse, shaped by necessity. Ancient peoples once crossed these lands, guided by knowledge of rare water sources and seasonal changes. Their traces remain in rock art and abandoned pathways, reminders of cultures that learned to coexist with unforgiving nature. Later, miners arrived, drawn by mineral wealth hidden beneath the desert surface. Copper, nitrates, lithium, resources that now power technologies far beyond this barren landscape. But despite these intrusions, the desert remains dominant. Wind erases footprints within hours, sand and salt reclaim structures left behind. Nature reasserts itself with quiet patience. Storms rarely come, yet when they do, they are transformative. Floodwaters carve temporary rivers through dry channels, reshaping valleys that may not see water again for decades. Lightning flashes across horizons unaccustomed to rain, reminding the desert of forces long absent. Most days, though, nothing happens, and that nothingness becomes the attraction. The desert offers space to feel small beneath endless sky, space to hear the sound of one's own breath, space to understand how vast and ancient this planet truly is. In a world of constant noise and motion, such emptiness feels profound. Every dune, every salt crust, every volcanic ridge tells a story written over millions of years. Continental collisions, ocean withdrawals, volcanic eruptions, erosion by wind rather than water. Geological chapters unfold slowly, shaping landscapes beyond imagination. And still, the desert continues changing. Climate shifts alter patterns subtly. Rare rains become slightly more common in some regions, stirring debate among scientists studying long-term environmental transformation. Even here, where change seems impossible, time moves forward. Standing alone amid this expanse, one realizes how thin the margin of habitability truly is. Remove rain, and forests vanish. Remove moisture, and rivers disappear. Remove clouds, and life must cling desperately to survive. The desert shows what Earth looks like when balance tips just slightly. Yet beauty thrives in this extremity. Colors deepen at sunrise and sunset, mountains glowing crimson before fading into indigo twilight. Shadows stretch endlessly across plains untouched by vegetation. Air shimmers with heat, creating mirages that blur reality and illusion. The Atacama feels like a memory from before humanity existed. A glimpse of Earth stripped to its geological essence. No distractions, no softness, just stone, salt, sky, and time. And perhaps that is why it captivates us. In its emptiness, we find perspective. In its silence, we hear something forgotten. In its hostility, we witness resilience. A desert that almost never feels rain becomes a place overflowing with wonder. A land that seems lifeless reveals hidden ecosystems and cosmic gateways. A terrain too extreme for comfort becomes unforgettable in its purity. The wind moves again across ancient ground, carrying grains of sand that may have traveled here thousands of years ago. Volcanoes watch silently as flamingos glide across glowing lagoons. Above, galaxies drift unseen by daylight eyes, waiting for night to reveal their brilliance once more. Here, on one of the driest surfaces our planet offers, we discover something deeply human: curiosity, humility, and awe before forces far greater than ourselves. And as the stars blaze overhead, stretching beyond comprehension, the desert reminds us how small we are and how extraordinary it is that life exists at all. Subscribe for more journeys into the world's most unbelievable places, and never stop exploring the impossible corners of our planet.